Hello, viewers. It's Sentai Michael from Screen Reviews, bringing you a new podcast from myself called the No.1 Sentai Review. And like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly, in case you don't understand me. Also, I'll try to do my best not to break your heart during this audio podcast recording as well, not to cause any audio feedback as well during this audio podcast recording. And finally, if you're under 18, this audio podcast recording will change to adult language. Once again, if you're under 18, this audio podcast recording will have some adult language if you're under 18. Now, if you're over 18, then you get to watch this audio podcast recording. Now, with this and anything else out the way, let's get into the latest episode of Gozyuger. So basically, you know, the cafe is the cafe has remained closed until they could find a new manager. So basically, you know, the Rangers had the Rangers had told Hal's landlady, who owns the cafe, about Ryoga's situation, and therefore she decided to close the cafe down until she finds a new manager to run it. So anyway, we see Kenjin and Samsumi wondering, you know, they have not seen any signs of Prince Hassan, the new Yellow Ranger, in a few days now. So basically, they don't know that, you know, that Riku's friend Ray has used his special wing to not only you know, capture Prince Ray, but also took the Tyranno Gozyuger ring as well, and added to his collection and whatnot. We added to his Sentai ring collection and whatnot. So anyway, you know, the landlady was like, you know, the landlady in her son was like, you know, I know that I miss Ryoga. Yes, he was a kind of oddball. Yes, he was the oddball out of all of the Rangers. But you know, but at least he had passion to running this place and whatnot. So anyway, we see Hal coming down the stairs, gripping his stomach, and turns out he had food poisoning since he has, you know, so they took even some expired food that he bought, you know, because you know Hal was pretty much is on a limited budget, so therefore he always buys expired food and whatnot. So anyway, they took him to the hospital. And so basically, you know, Satsumi, Kenjin, and Riku were there at the hospital, and basically, like, you know, and turns out they heard that some of the general doctors were doing their rounds, and turns out the hospital belongs to Ryoga's family, and therefore we see Ryoga and a doctor, you know, is one of the doctors and whatnot. So basically, you know, Ryoga does have a medical degree, and basically he is a licensed doctor and whatnot. So anyway, you know. So basically, Eno, Kenjin, and Riku was like, you know, oh, it's good to see you again. You know, we miss you and whatnot. And basically, you know, his father, who is the head doctor, who is the head doctor of the head owner / doctor of the hospital, was like, you know, oh, these are your still close friends. You know, whoa, these friends are interrupting our rounds and whatnot. So basically, like, you know, so basically, Ryoga was agreeing with his dad and whatnot, and just walk away from the other Rangers and whatnot. So basically, you know, they went to So basically, they went back into Hal's room and basically stating the situation, what's going on with Ryoga's, you know, this hospital belongs to Ryoga's family and whatnot, and basically Ryoga's dad wants him to study how to manage the hospital and therefore take over the hospital once he's, you know, take over the hospital business and whatnot, etc., and just doing what his dad tells him to do. And basically, you know, Ryoga told the others that, Ryoga felt like he's just a puppet, being used by his father, by his family to take over the hospital, take over the family business and whatnot when the time is right and whatnot. So anyway, things started to get a bit worse after Ryoga was done talking to his dad. A number one monster appeared and basically absorbed Ryugi's dad inside his body, therefore making the monster able to appear in the world, into the human world and whatnot. So basically, Ryogi's dad got absorbed by number one monster that is based off the doctor's being and whatnot, based off the doctor and whatnot. And basically the Rangers. So basically, the Rangers heard the commotion. The doctor monster and a bunch of foot soldiers dressed up as doctors and nurses was causing trouble in the hospital, and basically kidnapped basically had the hospital staff hostage and whatnot. So basically, since Hal was not able to participate in the number one battle, it was up to Riku and Kinjin to battle the monster in the number one battle. So basically this number one battle insisted on who has the best doctor skills and whatnot, and basically the monster won the battle, and therefore Suntumi and Kinji got captured by the number one monster, but Riku managed to escape with Hal before they got captured by the number one monster. Riku and to escape with Hal on the gurney, before before the monster ended up catching them, like they catch some Ino and Kinjin. So basically, Ryoga was with the other the hospital staff being held hostage by the foot soldiers, but Hal and Riku managed to take down the foot soldiers and free the hostages and whatnot. So basically, Hal was we can use your help to help the others, to free the other rangers and whatnot. So basically, Hal was so basically, Ryoga was I'm not a ranger no more. So basically, I'm useless. So basically, he's stating the obvious that I don't have my strength no more. I don't have no Sentai rings. I had the go-to trainer ring no more. So basically, I'm useless. So basically, I'm just doing. So basically, whatever you guys are doing. So basically, you guys will have to. You are supposed to help the others take down the monster by yourself. So basically, Ryoga just gave up on himself and whatnot. And basically, Hal was like, you know what? I still believe in you. I still believe that you still want to help us and whatnot. So basically, he borrowed some money from Riku and said that here's the money I owe you for my tab at the cafe. If you ever decide to decorate your father again, decorate your father not to be your father's puppet, decorate your father not being his puppet and whatnot, running the family business, my landlady was to work for you back as manager at the cafe with open arms and whatnot, and we'll happily accept your help, stopping the number one monster and helping the other rangers. And then out of nowhere, a portal opened and we see Ray show up, and basically this is the first time that we see Ray show up, and this is the first time that any of the other Rangers besides Riku and Messin and Messin Shido saw Ray, the Gray-Eyed Man. So basically, Ray was it's good to see you guys. It's good to see you again, Riku. He has not. I figured that you probably didn't tell the others about me and whatnot. So anyway, so basically, Ray used his special wing that he used to capture Prince Ansem in the Tyranno wing, and basically he transformed into Gozu Tyranno and started to fight against the other Rangers and whatnot. Meanwhile, the monster was about to do some surgery on Kinjin and some and Mashiro showed up and basically freed the other Rangers, and basically took the fight into the hallway and whatnot, and therefore joined up with the other Rangers that was fighting against Ray, who had the power of the Goju Tyranno Ranger ring and whatnot, using it against them. And basically, so basically the monster. So basically Ray was able to see inside the monster. It's like, say word. So, my old boss has been dissolved by a #1 monster. So basically, turns out that Ray was a doctor who used to work for Ryoga's father at the hospital, and therefore he started to attack the monster started to attack the monster after the monster poisoned the other Rangers, and basically I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to destroy this monster with your father inside it, because he was a real asshole. So basically, Ryoga was try his best to stop him, and basically yes, you're right, my dad is is a cool asshole, but he's still my dad and whatnot. So basically, and that's when Ray was your dad. You're right about that. Your dad is an asshole, but why even bother to save him? So basically, I believe that. Yes, he's still my dad. Fight his faults, he's still my family. So therefore, I will give my life to help people in need. And basically, he gave a compassionate speech, and I realized that I really don't have my. You maybe have I don't have my powers anymore, but I'm still willing to still fight to still fight and help people. And that's when the power of the Goju Tyranno wing went back to Ryoga, and basically Ray lost the power of the. So the Tyranno wing went back to Ryoga, and Ryoga came to the other Ranger again, and Ray was forced to demorph, and basically some saw Ray, who is the Gray-Eyed Man, who took his sister, and basically he was kind of shocked she was kind of shocked, along with Kinjin and Goju Polo as well, who does know who the Gray-Eyed Man knows that he does know that that the Gray-Eyed Man, that Ray, the Gray-Eyed Man, kidnapped some sister and whatnot. So anyway, Ray disappeared into a portal, and basically, Ryoga took down the #1 monster, freed his dad from the #1 monster, and therefore, once the monster was destroyed, the poison that the monster affected the other Rangers was gone and whatnot, and a foot soldier who was a part of the Doctor Monster's crew summoned a mecha to try to take down try to destroy the Rangers, and we are summoned the Tegazord Yellow mecha to fight against the foot soldier mecha, and basically with the help from Meshino, he used the power of the Zoo Ranger ring to combine the Mastodon Zord with the Tegazord Yellow mecha, and basically took down the we took down the foot to Rebecca and basically saved the day. So basically, Ryoga, now that Ryoga got his power back, he resigned. So basically, he left a note on his father's desk resigning for his position as a doctor at his father's hospital. And basically, his father realized that right now it's kind of best for him to be a ranger right now than a doctor. Anyway. Ryoga took back management of the cafe, and everything was good and whatnot. So basically, and how it's it's good to have you back. It's good to have you back. So basically, the others me with that gray-eyed man, we need to figure out how to say Prince answers from that, for Ray, that gray-eyed man and whatnot, and some to his sister from Ray, the gray-eyed man and whatnot. So anyway, while the rest of the Rangers were enjoying having Ryoga back, Sansumi was somewhere else looking at some information on Ray, and turns out she found out the truth that that Ray and Riku are friends, and basically it turns out that Ray was a doctor and basically looking up Ray's history, and she figured out that Riku and Ray are friends, and therefore this episode ended with Sun Ino in shock that Ray and Riku are friends. Finding out the truth that Ray and Riku are friends, and they say this is how the episode ended on this note. So anyway, so basically, now that the truth is out, about Ray, now that the others finally saw Ray, and basically, and Sun Ino knows the truth about Riku being friends with Ray, it's going to go down. So anyway, this was a good episode. Anyway, what do you guys think about the latest episode of Gozyuger? Good, bad, or whatever? Please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, signing off for Reviews. 1.